Hey everybody, what's going on? Juan here. Welcome back to the channel. And one of my favorite things about the month of January is that we officially initiate the road to WrestleMania, and I'm right here to talk about Royal Rumble 2018. And this also marks my first ever wrestling show review right here for Epic JC. Now, depending on whether you know me from earlier or not, I did review wrestling shows for 4 years, and this is a topic that I'm very passionate about. And I'm not going to review the weekly shows like Raw and SmackDown, but pay-per-views like the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series, things that I loved to watch growing up, and they really conclude, or they should be the culmination of all of these big stories, or are the initiation of these stories. You gotta cover them as a wrestling fan. I mean, I'm wearing a wrestling shirt right now, and this is a very, very good show because I am overall thrilled at the fact that I watched Royal Rumble 2018. I also want to get your feedback about the show, so definitely drop a comment below with your review, with your first impressions about the Royal Rumble. And not only was it a good show, it was also a very lengthy show, but then again, that's the tradition with WWE programming. I mean, look right now, you can tell I have some of that headphone hair because I have my headphones on for like 4 hours. So let's not waste any more time and get to the main show matches, because we did get some pre-show stuff, but I didn't really keep too much eye on that. But we did get Drew Gulak, and you can never go wrong with that guy. So we initiated the show with a WWE Championship handicap match where the face that runs the place, this is the Diamond Cutter. What? Okay, I'll just do this to make up for it. The phenomenal AJ Styles took on the team of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And a recurring theme during all of this pay-per-view is great tag team matches, because realistically, because it wasn't where Owens and Zayn were in the ring together at the same time, this basically played off like a tag team match, and it was a damn fine tag team match. And AJ Styles, I mean, the Phenomenal One is not just a nickname. It really represents how he is in the ring. Even in the pre-show, Ric Flair was talking about the fact that AJ Styles is this generation's Shawn Michaels. And you can see this because traditionally you look at a match like this on paper and you go like, okay, so you have the right talent for it. I mean, these guys are 5-star athletes, maybe even according to Dave Meltzer, but a handicap environment, how would this really play out? So it was the slow psychological build up to the conclusion, figuring out how can AJ try to get the upper hand? How can he rest a little bit, maybe try to get one of them to submit? So I really appreciated that this match, even though all three guys can go, really, really quickly, they chose to go the opposite route and just have it go slow, like take care of everything, because people care about this match. I think that if it was anybody else, then they would really have to work extra hard with crazy moves to get the crowd in. But going in, the crowd was already invested into this match. And I like the conclusion where AJ just got the upper hand on Kevin Owens, and the veteran skills. You saw him try to, get the shoulder up to make sure that with the roll-up victory, it didn't look all shady. And my favorite spot of the match had to have been the super kick into the Blue Thunder Bomb, because for like a split second, I was thinking to myself, whoa, are they actually going to do this? I mean, not just because the Blue Thunder Bomb has for seemingly forever been one of my favorite wrestling moves, but it would be kind of cool just to see a scenario where we do get a New Day type thing with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn as the dual WWE champions, but the Phenomenal One comes out on top with a strong way to open up Royal Rumble 2018. The second match of the night was a WWE Tag Team Championship 2 out of 3 falls match where the reigning and defending Tag Team Champions, the Usos, defended against Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin. And this match was like a really kick-ass video game where you find out the conclusion was left off for DLC. Because the whole match, like I mentioned earlier, it's just been a great night for tag team stuff, and this is just the second match going in, and these two teams could have a great match with a picnic basket, with a piece of paper. They could have a great match with air, and it would just be awesome because the Usos are just great at what they do. But then for whatever reason, they have this conclusion where, Chad Gable was at the top, and then we have another roll-up victory, which I think it's also where the crowd was kind of left off, like, what's going on? Because we have 2 roll-up victories in a row in matches that have a tag team format. So I think if maybe you have put the WWE Universal Championship, here instead of that, if you could have moved some things around, which I know there's not a ton of matches in this pay-per-view, but I do think that layout ultimately affected how people felt about this match. Now, I'm complaining about the end, but one thing I will give them credit is that it's a 2 out of 3 falls match, and traditionally people become magically weaker in these matches, and as a result end up getting pinned really quickly. And basically 90% of the match was false finishes, and they actually played up to that because we knew that as fans going in, right? Like, okay, super kick maybe only get to 2, but now it's gonna get to 3 because it's a 2 out of 3 false match. Wait a minute, they actually kicked out. I love that spot with Shelton and Chad where they did the powerbomb bulldog combination to the outside. They isolated one of the Usos, so the psychology for the match was there. Now I'm just not sure if this leads up to a scenario where Chad Gable turns on Shelton Benjamin because Shelton's the one that got pinned, and then this would mark his second tag team in WWE, so maybe it's like Chad Gable, he's just not meant to be part of a tag team. So despite the conclusion, just watch the match and like tune out. Just don't know the conclusion. Be like, what's gonna happen? You know what? Imagine it. Put it right here, because a lot of games have sucky endings, so this is almost like a game, except it's not. And in match number 3, we already have our first Rumble match with the 30-man Royal Rumble match. And I gotta say that right off the bat, the fact that Nakamura won this match has me very excited, because even though I've tuned out of WWE, I remember when I was last watching, it was a scenario where Nakamura just wasn't really fitting into anywhere. And I read up a couple of reports, just overall reception from people, and it did seem like Nakamura hadn't really gotten himself out of that situation. So it was cool to see a scenario where at the end you have John Cena, Roman Reigns. You have the obvious people that you think are going to win. You have the obvious people that people are going to be interested in, whether you support them or not. You care about the fact that they are on your screen. And then on the other side, you have Finn Balor, who was my pick to win this match. And then you have Nakamura, who you kind of went like, well, if they eliminate Finn Balor and they go with Nakamura, that can still lead up to like the AJ Nakamura match, which we're going to get. And I love the fact that they did not waste time whatsoever with that and just announced that they're on the spot. So it's like, hey, you're going to get the dream match. Doesn't matter what else WrestleMania has, at least you're going to get the match that, historically speaking, these two guys have a lot of things that happened before WWE, so it's going to be very interesting to see how they sort of integrate that, and ultimately it leads to an outstanding match at WrestleMania. But the whole psychology of the Royal Rumble match was awesome. It was pure entertainment for like the first 10 to 15 minutes with Rusev Day and then the order of entrance. I mean, Heath Slater, I love the fact that Heath Slater basically never stepped foot inside the ring. Everybody kept, just beating the crap out of him. Ultimately, Sheamus brings him to the ring only to get eliminated by Heath Slater. So it's those little things that play out, because in the Rumble match, Heath Slater should not be this immovable object, right? He should be eliminated in 2 seconds, which he kind of was. But because of circumstance, he was in the match, kinda, for quite a while. He was there. He did his job. Everybody was beating him. I mean, we got pancakes. We also got the Kofi Kingston thing, which I love, because a lot of people were speculating, are they going in any way, shape, or form going to involve pancakes during the elimination of Kofi Kingston, who historically gets pretty creative with all of this. And he did. And I just love that. Just step on them pancakes. And then, I mean, even Heath Slater got some pancakes. He got some carbs out of this whole experience. We also got Rey freaking Mysterio, one of my favorite superstars of all time. And man, Rey looks awesome. And I love his hybrid outfit between the WWE and WCW style. It seems like his knees are better than ever before, because he was moving great. And I mean, keep in mind, the last time we saw him in WWE, he was wearing a shirt because, well, he had a bit of a gut. And I mean, he was looking buff, not like Buff Bagwell. He has some actual talent. So Rey Mysterio, man, I don't know if this is going to be your one-time deal. And I just realized, I'm not implying that Buff has talent. I'm talking about Rey Mysterio, although Buff Bagwell has a pretty awesome theme. Taking a look at the list, we also got Cien Almas. We got the NXT champion, who had an awesome match at TakeOver. One of the best matches that I've seen in quite some time with Johnny Gargano. I mean, Johnny Wrestling, man, I love you. He's the next Daniel Bryan, and I've said that for quite some time. We got Adam Cole, baby. We got the Hurricane, which Hurricane, one of my favorite superstars of all time, but Dad bod Hurricane. Now, that's not my favorite superstar, because it's like, at least tan. You could have tanned for like 15 minutes, man. Like, no offense, it was cool to see you and do the post, but it was this whole thing of like, were you invited, or did you kind of show up and everybody felt bad for you and just went like, Well, if you got the outfit, you came dressed, which why would you even do that? I guess you can have a spot in the match. Now, the questionable thing, and in many ways I understand, Wookiee and Matt Hardy came out, and he immediately started brawling with Bray Wyatt after sort of partnering with him for a couple of minutes, and then they both eliminated themselves, and maybe it was some kind of way to save him. You want to make Matt Hardy look good, and maybe it was some kind of way to save him because you want to have Matt Hardy look good, even though from what I've seen, they're kind of just doing something with him, but not really like doing something significant. But I actually forgot, like all the way at the beginning, just the little way that things play out. Like Baron Corbin got eliminated fairly quickly, all things considered. But what happens? He basically made the entire Rumble match. You look at that, and it's because he kicked everybody's ass that all of a sudden we got Elias coming out there and playing a concert. That's why we got Heath Slater taken out in the first place. And this is when we got to go like, okay, a lot of times like Ty Dillinger coming out at 10 again. Hey, wrestling scripted, try to hide it. You know what? Let's just have fun. Because of the funness of this match, we were able to just be sports entertained. And I have to say, this has been one of my favorite Rumbles in quite some time, because usually halfway through, I'm just like, just get it over with. We know what's going to happen, which is usually what ends up happening. But instead, we got Nakamura winning the Royal Rumble match and challenging AJ Styles. Bang. Also, what the hell, man? Rusev could have at least won the Rumble on Rusev Day. It would have been perfect for him. Now we're on to the fourth match of the night, and man, I felt really bad for these guys because you could hear a pin drop. That crowd was so silent. Understandably speaking, I mean, you just went through a Royal Rumble match and you got 3 more matches, and here we have the Raw Tag Team Championship match between the team of The Bar, the former champions, and the defending champions of Jason Jordan and Seth Rollins. And oddly enough, we got a repeat of the first match in many ways because Jason Jordan was taken out pretty early on, so it was basically Seth Rollins against The Bar. And that's historically been what's been playing out because we have this whole yin and yang thing, like they're not really clicking. Jason Jordan's been doing pretty good from what I've been able to catch up on. But the whole match, because the crowd didn't care, I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't care. I couldn't wait for that match to end. And considering the conclusion that we got, that it was so obvious, because I was just thinking to myself, well, if they're doing this, then they're just going to take the tag titles off of them, put them back on The Bar, and then Rollins is going to be pissed, maybe beat Jordan down or something, challenge him to a match tomorrow, or maybe it's like a redemption thing. And that's what happened. He lost the match. So it's like you could have just gotten that out of the way because the crowd did not care. Although, I guess psychologically speaking, this was really not just a bathroom break, but people needed some time to really just recover, because then we had the Universal Championship match. So you have The Bar as the new champions, and I really don't know what else to say about this match other than it happened. At number 5, we have the WWE Universal Championship triple threat match between Kane, Braun Strowman, and the champion Brock Lesnar, which, to the surprise of absolutely nobody, Brock Lesnar retained in what was an overall pretty acceptable and albeit predictable match, because you know what Brock Lesnar and these other 2 guys can do, right? Like, Braun Strowman is just physically impressive in every way, not just in look, but in size and in strength. Same thing with Brock Lesnar. And then you have Kane. He does Kane things, right? He does the choke slam, and that's what we got. We got some weapons, we got some things involved, and I think everybody predicted that Kane was going to be the one to take the pin, and that's why he was in the match, and that's exactly what also happened. So we got some violence, we got some vicious punches on behalf of Brock Lesnar, which they even needed to replay that, because when he punched Braun, I'm like, whoa, dude, that's some concussion territory. And I know that Brock Lesnar loves to get physical, so I'm not surprised by that whatsoever. But Brock Lesnar got the win, and now we're on to maybe Brock Lesnar versus Braun at Elimination Chamber or perhaps WrestleMania. That's about it. And now it's time to talk about the main event and the main reason that I wanted to do this review, the 30-woman Royal Rumble match, which going in, I predicted that the boss, Sasha Banks, was going to win this match. But hey, I'm still happy with the outcome. The fact that Asuka won the match, I mean, it's somebody that deserves to win it. It maintains her credibility. And the whole process of this match was a surprising roller coaster of emotions for me, because I got choked up a couple of times. Keep in mind that I've been watching wrestling since the Attitude Era. So people like Molly Holly later on in the Ruthless Aggression era, you got to see her play off, before she was part of the Holly family, but you really got to see her, flourish as a wrestler, trained by Dean Malenko, another one of my favorite superstars of all time in WCW. And in this match, you could tell they were going like, okay, this is the first ever women's Royal Rumble match. We got to make it 50-50. 50-50 of what's going on right now, and then the other half, let's celebrate the evolution of women's wrestling, which we talk about the revolution and the evolution and all these catchphrases. But this match really solidified this because you had your Michelle McCools, your Tori Wilsons, your Kelly, women that really were in there more so for their looks. And some of them, like Michelle McCool, Michelle McCool definitely took it one step further, with Layla and Laycool, and she became a really, really good wrestler. But you had other women like Tori who had been there since WCW, but they were more so eye candy. You also had women like Trish and Lita who, much like the other ones, they could have easily become eye candy. Think about the fact that Lita was a manager at one point for Essa Rios, and then Trish was part of TNA, but then they really took the ball and ran with it. They trained, and we got 2 Hall of Famers. So that really goes to show you the entire process of women's wrestling, right? Where they weren't able to wrestle like the guys. They had to wrestle like women. And actually, if you already watched the match, I encourage you to go back and check out the kicks. The kicks are an indication of the point in time where these women were trained. The kicks by Ember Moon were not the same kicks as the ones that were made by even Michelle McCool and Tori Wilson. It seems like their kicks were more so pushes, not so much to do damage, whereas the ones from the current iteration of women like Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, and Bayley, they felt more aggressive. They felt like they were trying to really damage their target. But think about the fact that the women back then were not able to train the way that the women do now. Like the woman now, you look at somebody like Ember Moon, when she came into that match, it's like, wow, you get this ultimate energy, the Performance Center. The Performance Center, NXT, the evolution of women's wrestling played out here. You got Vicky Guerrero, which had to have been a very emotional moment for Sasha Banks, considering her favorite wrestler. There she is with Eddie Guerrero's widow. Like, just the whole thing was awesome. I truly did enjoy this match, and I have a feeling I'll probably go back to watch it again. I like the fact that at the end, instead of Roman Reigns and John Cena, which, funnily enough, I don't know why, during the match, I kept thinking to myself, what if Roman Reigns comes out? Like, what the hell? He didn't win one match. Maybe he comes in here. Also, how come James Ellsworth was not in either one of these two? What the hell, man? He should have been in any one of them, but I liked how they have Brie Bella and Nikki Bella be that obstacle, that mainstream obstacle. And Sasha at the end, man, that was the legit boss that I loved in NXT. Like the way that she slapped, the way that she spoke. I'm like, hey, bring that Sasha back. Bring her back. I miss her deeply. Please do so. Please do so. I don't know if it'll happen, but at least we got some sort of a tease about that in this match. And ultimately, Asuka eliminates Nikki Bella after Nikki eliminated Brie, and then we have Asuka, and then just before we get the credits, we get Ronda Rousey coming out. Holy crap. We knew that she was already involved in the WWE, so this is not surprising. I will say, I know that they want the headline to be, Ronda Rousey pointing at the WrestleMania sign. Actually, you know what? For the remainder of this review, I'm just going to be pointing at Yoshi. Because why not? If Ronda Rousey pointed something for like 5 minutes, so can I, right? So after Ronda Rousey came out, I was thinking to myself, like, okay, so is it going to be a scenario where Asuka looks at either Bliss or Charlotte, and then Ronda Rousey gets the other opponent? But then it's just like, she's just pointing at the sign, she looks at them, points at the sign again, but perfectly. Like, the camera is all the way out there, and I just got to keep looking at that because that's going to be the headline, and then the show kind of ends. And I think that was a bit of a mood killer. Like, I get it. It's surprising. Also, you can definitely tell. Ronda, historically speaking, has always said that she loved Roddy Piper. She comes out with basically everything related to Roddy Piper, even the jacket. So I'm not sure, like, what... Okay, I'm doing a terrible job at pointing right now. So I'm not sure, like, what kind of character she's going to be. Because, like, when she was leaving, it's like, serious, hey, goodbye, everybody. Also, Maria Menounos. Don't ever announce again in your life. Like, SmackDown! And this was definitely my match of the night. Maybe, like, not in a legitimate match standpoint, the grappling, but I think the striking was great. They told a great story. We were able to celebrate women's wrestling. I mean, we also had, like I mentioned, Molly Holly, Jacqueline. We got Kairi Sane involved, and we got to see her awesome elbow drop. This is it. Like, this is something where you can put this in a time machine, and somebody can watch this and understand this is where we came from. This is where we're at right now. And then I guess Asuka and Ronda Rousey represent where we're going to go. So overall, I have to say that the Royal Rumble was a great pay-per-view. I had a lot of fun considering that I've been out of the loop. You know, I haven't really watched a main WWE program since August or September. So being able to watch this as a fan, not watching social media all the time, just sitting back and enjoying the experience, it was a lot of fun. And it doesn't really entice me to watch Raw or SmackDown or any of that, but I am enjoying how WrestleMania is shaping up. So let me know, people, would you like me to review the big 4 pay-per-views? As I mentioned, I will not be watching Raw, SmackDown, the traditional shows. I'm also subscribed to New Japan Pro Wrestling's World Service, which is like their WWE network, because I watched Wrestle Kingdom and that was an awesome show. So I'm not going to have this channel become something that is 50% wrestling. I want wrestling to be the unboxings, special events, because I want wrestling to be special for me again. Admittedly, I got horribly burnt out by wrestling, you know, mid last year, and I want to fall in love with wrestling again before I consider covering it on a consistent basis. So let me know what you thought about the Royal Rumble. Drop a comment below. If you're watching me here and you used to check me out on Byte That, this is my new home, and I want to welcome you to my new home, and I hope that you're part of this brand new family. I do videos related to video games, so you can hear me talk about Super Mario Odyssey. We also have a game club here and on Press Pause TV, so you can actually check out a video right here on this channel where I go over all of the rules about the game club. So if you're a fan of something like a book club, you know, like a monthly gathering where everybody can just talk about one book, imagine that, but for video games. We also have a Discord channel where we can talk about games, wrestling, movies, anything going on, including food, which is a topic that I am very passionate about. And I'll also be doing some more food stuff, including a cheesecake video. Let's get to cooking a little bit in the kitchen, shall we? So if you have any recommendations whatsoever for the channel, don't just let me know what you thought about the Royal Rumble. Give me your suggestions in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, help me out with a huge thumbs up, subscribe, and share any of the videos that I have going on in the channel right now. So until next time, thank you for watching and supporting. And never forget, folks, that the epic journey continues. Thanks for watching, gang. Take care. It's been a while. It's been quite a while since I last reviewed wrestling. Feels good, but kind of weird, but hopefully you guys liked it. Thanks for watching, gang.